Hey, it looks like there's going to be a shitty article about my family in the New York Post pretty soon, so I figured I'd get ahead of it. Talking about my family like this is really uncomfortable, so please bear with me. My mom and her fiancé are very wealthy thanks to a software company they started together when I was a kid. As a result, I've gotten to live a life of tremendous privilege. I got to go to college without debt and take low-paying internships when I graduated without worrying about rent or health insurance.
You piece of shit. You have 3 houses, one that's only 40 minutes from the other one up on Lake Champlain. You piece of shit.
Alright everyone, welcome back to Crow Judgment. Today we're discussing Carlos Maza being exposed as a spoiled rich brat. Although, if anyone is familiar with how he acted when he brought on an adpocalypse to YouTube, that should really shock nobody. But before we begin, please share this video on social media, give us a like, leave us a comment. I don't care if you say, bro, you're a mean, terrible individual. Why are you attacking at Gay Wonka on Twitter? He's a hero. I don't mind because all comments are great for the YouTube algorithm, so I appreciate it. Anyways, John Levine, reporter for the New York Post, recently exposed Carlos Maza for essentially coming from an excessively wealthy family. Now, as a greedy capitalist myself, I take no issues with the fact that, you know, he comes from a very, 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 very wealthy family. What I take issues with is, well, Marxist pig, liberal fascist, queer scum. This jackass has pretended to be poor, oppressed, underprivileged, fighting for a better system, so that he can whatever, you know, just absolutely whatever. But like many on the left, he has been exposed for being a liar, a grifter, completely dishonest, and total scum. If you want to read through his entire statement on this matter, we're going to go right into the article here, so this is your chance now. Feel free to pause the video. I personally don't care about anything this jackass has to say. Again, this is a guy who, while being essentially given a free ride for his entire life, I don't know how old, I think he's like 30 something, mommy and daddy still pay the bills, like, Jesus. He went out, he destroyed the income of many people. He tried to get other queer content creators on YouTube, channels that are specifically focused on LGBTQ issues, to join his cause, to lose their income, while at the same time knowing that he basically had mommy and daddy there to just keep putting money into his bank account. It's really ridiculous, but let's go right into it. Carlos Maza doesn't like rich people. Except himself. The social media socialist, with more than 150,000 followers on Twitter and YouTube combined, regularly uses his platform to rail against the wealthy and powerful and urges fans to be skeptical of their opinions. This is a quote from Maza. Just found out James Carville, who spends his time lecturing Democrats for being too far left, lives in absolutely obscene 4-story mansion. Where do you live, Maza, and who's paying those bills, jackass? Dear God, can we stop taking political advice from the ultra... Yes! We can absolutely stop taking political advice from the ultra-wealthy, starting with Carlos Maza. You really have to respect this guy's grift. Constantly dressing in normal clothes on TV to... Oh my God. This is Carlos Maza, everybody. Jeez. We should treat gay people the same way we treat straight people, eating them when they get too... Yes. You know what? Carlos Maza is saying a bunch of shit I agree with right now. I just say, and you know, maybe I'm being fringe here, but I think maybe we should just start with Carlos Maza. Oh man. Like any good online socialist, Maza raises money for his internet presence through a Patreon account where comrades a word Carlos uses to describe his supporters can fund him in increments of $2, $5, and $10 a month. Speaking of which, if you check the link in the description, you can go to my Patreon and support me for, I think, roughly the same amounts. But here's the thing, my mommy and daddy aren't paying my bills. Oh man. But if Maza wants to start eating the rich, he may have to begin with his own family. Now, there's something really important in the article. These are the tweets about James Carville. James Carville apparently pissed off a bunch of people because he went hardcore at Bernie Sanders. But as you can see here, they posted photos of James Carville's home. They're trying to imply that he's just a filthy rich dude. But, Carlos Maza is all of the things he's accused James Carville of being. Except the difference is, as I understand it, James Carville actually worked for his money. Carlos Maza gets a handout every single month, which, I totally get why he thinks communism would be so great. Because I think he assumes that the government just hands people out money and things like mommy and daddy hand him money and things. Unfortunately, the world don't work that way. Though through his clan, the Millennial Firebrand is connected to multiple Florida mega mansions. Jesus. A $7.1 million pad on the Upper West Side purchased under an LLC, and a yacht by luxury boat maker Donzi. So we're not talking like wealthy, we're talking uber wealthy. Maza's mother, Vivian Maza, was one of the first employees at Ultimate Software, a Florida-based behemoth, which now employs more than 5,000 people. Starting in 1990 as an office manager, she ultimately rose to become the group's chief people officer in 2004. And they go in to talk about his family here, and they specifically state like how much cash these people have. And the thing I gotta say, that's all fine, man. I'm glad that, you came from privilege. I'm glad that you had that silver spoon in your mouth. I'm glad mommy and daddy can pay for you as you have an just completely stunted growth. But you're just a jackass. You're a real piece of shit here. And the thing that I love, right? A couple things we'll go into in a second here, because John Levine got into a lot of trouble over doing what Carlos Maza himself did. It's this whole I have to come out clean, guys, because there's a shitty article. Dude, it's the truth. You are uber wealthy and pretending to be a poor communist. Like, I can't stand many people, but I really fucking hate you grifters. I really cannot stand you. I totally get that you absolutely believe in communism, and I can totally see why. You come from luxury and privilege and wealth. You have shit just handed to you your entire life. Even now, mommy and daddy are still there to back you up and pay those bills. And I think you just assume that under communism, that's how it would be for everyone else. Well, newsflash, it isn't. And if and it's really disgusting that you pretend to be poor, that you pretend to be oppressed, that you pretend to not be privileged, and the only reason why you're coming out now is because someone's finally exposing you for being a lying grifter. But you know what? You've always been a piece of shit, Carlos Maza. You've always been willing to gaslight and lie to the public. Anyone who watches any of the trash videos you did for Vox can absolutely see that. And if they couldn't before, Jesus. Here's the thing that's funny, though. Look at this. 13.1k likes. Like, who are you morons liking this shit? 3.9k likes. Sorry for having to deal with this bullshit publicly like this. I would have preferred to talk about this in the context of a video about class and shame. Shut up. But I don't want the world's slimiest fucking reporter harassing my mom. He's not. Honestly, John Levine seems pretty favorable towards your mom. He's explaining how, she started here and she rose up to be much higher than where she was thanks to the glories of capitalism. The only person that I see being slimy and disgusting would be Carlos Maza, and also I will say a harasser, because here's what Carlos Maza did, right? Second update: despite initially calling their decision to lock my account in error, Twitter locked me out again a few hours later over the same Carlos Maza story. I've reluctantly deleted the tweet, and I'm sharing with you some of the timeline here. This is Orwellian. And as you can see, they suspended his account. They forced him to delete the tweet. The tweet in question was a photo of Carlos Maza's family's home. You know, one of them, because he's got many. He has many mansions. It's ridiculous, right? This piece of shit. You know, I don't like this Carvel guy. I respect Carvel for actually, you know, making his own money, but beyond that, I'm not a fan of this guy's politics. I'm not a fan of the shit he says. You know, well, I did find the Bernie stuff funny, but you know, this ain't a guy I personally like. But look at what you did. Yeah, you sat there, you called him a grifter when he was open, like he's posing for these photos. Look at this. He's showing people his wealth. He's not hiding it like you. You're the disgusting, amoral piece of shit. But again, to anyone who's familiar with the lengths of bullshit this man is willing to go to lie and gaslight and grift, like, my goodness. And the worst thing is about this piece of shit grifter, mommy and daddy are still going to pay him. They're still going to pay his rent. Like, I can understand opening up the Patreon because, you know, you need funds for your YouTube channel. I need funds for my YouTube channel. Hire an editor to do better content and shit. But, like, what the fuck are you up to, man? Like, mommy and daddy pay your fucking rent. They probably pay for your fucking food expenses. If you lost everything like you did when you got fired by Vox, mommy and daddy were right there with a check for you. Well, you were telling other content creators getting by eating fucking top ramen noodles to go out and destroy the platform that was paying them pennies that they needed. You're disgusting. But that should surprise nobody. Just about everybody on the left that still remains on the left, that's a hardcore communist, is a fucking grifter, is a fucking liar. And you know what? We'll be doing a video tomorrow on the Young Turks, the progressive outlet, which has long time praised unions, losing their shit and harassing their own employees and firing people for trying to start a union. I know that there are some people that are on the left, center left. I even know some progressives that really do believe in what they say, but man, there are just so many of these gaslighting, grifting jackasses just spread out all over the place. And I really hope you can help me out. Share this video, share this story. More people need to know about these grifters, and more people need to know about the bullshit that is Carlos Maza, because he's going to come squeaking up like the slimy little freaking worm he is any chance he gets to gain a little publicity. Man, but you know what? I'll give him the publicity. John Levine gave him the publicity, and I know that there are other YouTubers that are going to be giving this guy plenty of publicity. Just help us out. Help us share these stories, because people like this need to be exposed for who they are when they're sitting there calling other people out for being wealthy and being into politics when he himself is hiding his wealth and is all about giving bullshit political advice. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope to see you in the next one.